Alright. There he is on that top left side. A blue Terran fighting for the Shopify Rebellion. BYUN. On the bottom right side, we got ourselves a red Protoss player. Fighting for the Afrika Freaks. He is Stats. You know, I'm a Stats fanboy. I mean, to be fair, I'm also a BYUN fanboy, so this is just a great match for me. Bring it. No matter who wins, I'll be happy. And afterwards, we either get Stats versus Innovation or BYUN versus Innovation. I mean, that is pretty darn good as well. Give me both of those. Little Reaper wall here being created by Stats as he's prepping to just kind of keep that Reaper out. Command center on the low ground here for BYUN. And a proxy pylon for Stats. Most likely looking for a Stargate here, as the positioning would propose. Or suggest. Come on. Doesn't have to gas quite yet, so we'll have to wait for that, and then it'll be, all the mysteries will be revealed to us. Looks like it will be the Stargates here. 150 is what you need, right? Yeah, there we go. Reaper. Adept already shaded. And there is another one on the way, but that's still a bit of a ways off, so the Adept is going to have to cancel the shade and stick around here in his own base. Reaper trying to do a bit of Dukes of Hazzard style here. Ring around the rosy. Second Adept is already available. Reaper not going to try to bounce himself over the pylon here. We'll just kind of make do with the situation and not quite be getting that full scout. Doesn't see a second pylon anywhere though, so may have some suspicions. But he never really got to check that main base, right? So it is hard to tell. Let's see how he starts preparing for this. He's got himself some Widow Mines. The first Widow Mine is going to go into the main mineral. Widow Mine is going to go into the main mineral line. And this Oracle looks like that is going to be a perfect alignment. If Stats is going to pull through with this. Unless if he starts microing that Oracle by hand and moves it in a different direction. And this could be bad. Okay, he had it selected a couple of times. Was looking over. Coming in close right now. Widow Mine in range. That is the dead Oracle. Yep, that is rough. I don't think he got a single SCV right there. Nope. About as good as you can get it here for BYUN. Second Oracle is about to finish up. Let's hope that is not going to suffer a similar fate. Although, you know what? It looks like it might suffer something or another. Oracle does run a little bit quicker, so manages to escape the vision of the Viking there. Widow Mine still in the same location. Not gonna just run onto that one this time around. Find himself another mineral field that is not as heavily protected by the Marines. And gets his first SCV kill right there, so well done to Stats. BYUN. Pretty good so far. That's a lot of Adepts being built. Wait, how many Adepts is that? That's 5 Adepts right here with the Phoenixes on the background as well. Normally, after the Stargates and the Phoenixes, you would try to get yourself into a Colossus type of situation, but you know what? The 5 Adepts here, it's not even that bad because they do pretty well against the Marines, which is going to be most of what the Terran army consists out of at the start here. was going to spend his time taking care of that Stargate. Don't want any more units coming in, hanging about. Viking gets picked off. Was the only Viking around here in in BYUN's army. Oh, this could be nice. There's still a connection, right? Fortunately, it was through the Phoenix, and they do survive. But you know, a bit of hull damage onto two of these flies, not bad, not bad at all. Especially if you are planning to do a push at some point as well. Having these Phoenixes to be lower HP makes it a lot easier to target them down. Robo and Templar Archives at the same time being added here for stats. With a bit more of his production being buffed up as well here. Third base flying over, being spotted by stats right now. Starting to maneuver himself a bit more defensively. Looks like he's just working on the back side of things here. It's quite surprising how many times when I'm just observing things that how I find that Inu is looking at the same thing. Two barracks. So we have the Adepts kind of coming forward here. This is a reasonable amount of Adepts, right? If you get that suddenly on your mineral line, you're going to lose a lot of SCVs. It looks like that's the plan here for stats. Almost as if it's like a circling run by here. That will be hitting the natural, most likely. Maybe he's going to split them up 3 by 3. Who knows? Or 4 by 3. Or 3 by 3 by 1. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, splitting some of them off. There we go. It's pretty cool. Pretty darn cool. Bit of reinforcements is available, though, for BYUN. Needs to watch out for the Wither Mines. That could be trouble. SCVs here trying to combat the Adepts. But this is starting to add up quite nicely. 8 workers already, just like that. Let's see if we can get 9. We can get 9. BYUN's economy, though, is still pretty darn good. 61 workers here after losing 9 of them. That is very impressive. High Templar moving forward. Needs to watch out for the Siege Tank. Nice pick up there with the Phoenix coming in at the right time. Very good decision making there from stats overall. Realizing, alright, I can keep moving these High Templar forwards. The Phoenix should arrive in time before that Siege Tank gets a big dose of damage off of these very expensive units. Expensive yet very fragile units. Zealot's getting card out as BYUN looks like he wants to start expanding towards the 9 o'clock base rather than the base that sometimes even gets taken as a third base on the 12 o'clock. Interesting. Little observer here coming in at the right moment. Scan forwards. Ooh, okay, 2 status traps here. 1 more to be triggered, but that's just got shot down because the scan seeing it. We have more status traps elsewhere. Looks like that's pretty much it, right? Do status traps show up on the units tab? I don't know. Triple medevac here. Stats already in a position to try and intercept. BYUN realizing that he has been figured out. Not sure if he's still going to go for it. I mean, probably is. It is BYUN after all, right? What else do we expect? Well, might just wait around for the left army to come in first, though. That is going to be quite a scare here for stats, seeing all those units coming down on that side. Oh, great storms, and actually an engagement there for stats. Trying to hunt down those medevacs right now, but doesn't quite manage to get them. A clutch escape there for BYUN's army. A very close call indeed. The Disruptors there just barely managing to get a good connection as well before the Biots managed to get rid of them entirely. BYUN loses a good chunk of army on the left flank instead. As the right flank seemed to be the place where it was going to lose the army. It was, in fact, the left one. Fusion Core coming up as well. We'll be looking into getting the Liberator range upgrade here. So we have carriers coming up as well as the fleet. Well, yeah, carriers. Of course, then you would need the fleet beacon, but the Stargates and the fleet beacon coming up. Oh, no EMP from that Ghost. Bit of a shame. There's 2 High Templar here on the low ground. Might be able to get a good EMP off, but not like that, of course. A bit preoccupied, it seems, with the protection of his planetary fortress. That's not going to work out, is it? Yeah, that is a dead planetary. You're back to 3 bases you go. Do not go bust. Start and collect $200. BYUN, I mean, stats. He's got himself a 5th base on the way. BYUN trying to re-establish a 4th after losing 24 workers as well. Everything BYUN kind of is trying to do, it seems to just be better executed by stats in a way. Well, stats just knows how to take that situation and then turn it into his favor. A couple of zealots there do get picked off. More zealots immediately coming across. He realizes that he would love to have this base. Doesn't quite manage to get the next warp in on the location. It's a bit of a rough one. He's still chasing down Medivacs. Gets a good cluster of units there. Gets the Vikings now as well. As we're seeing stats going with a... Well, straight from... Well, how did he go? Stargate into... Did he go straight into Robo? He did still go into Robo, but did he go straight into... No, he made the Robo and the Templar Archives at the same time, didn't he? Yeah, I think so. Oh, big clump of units here. Only 2 Marines. Acceptable. Alright, charging down onto the Ghost as well as the Stalkers try to get their damage maximized as well. Looks like BYUN just with a bit too much, especially against gateway forces. That may leave that top right side, right? This 3rd o'clock base a little bit exposed. And in fact, yeah, I do think we will see this go down. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon. Oh, no, maybe not. Massive disruptor shots come in as the reinforcements tries to protect this base. Or the reinforcement is trying to take down the base. Is getting met with a heavy disruptor fire, and a lot of it goes down. The carriers should be more than enough here to clean up small quantities of Marines. EMP landing quite nicely onto the Zealots so far, also onto the carriers, of course, but the Marines, are they plentiful enough to really do enough damage to deal with the interceptors here? It looks like they just barely don't quite. They're hanging in there. They're trying their best. Taking out whatever they can as well in the meantime. Like every stray Archon they can lay there or put their hands onto. Lay their hands onto. They can grab. It's close enough to shoot. And we'll make sure to light up. This is 6 carriers right now on the offensive. A disruptor shot doesn't quite manage to hit the mark. Up to 8 now with this offensive group of carriers. Starting to get really, really scary here. There's no War Prism nearby for stats, so it's a rough time for him to reinforce. Might be the finding salvation that BYUN could use here in a way to try and get something going into his favor. Disruptors having a rough time getting their shots lined up. Nice dodge there with the Marines, but there's still just too much with the +2 air weapons, with the carriers. It is just doing so incredibly much. GG is called as stats takes game number 1 of this best of 5 here. Quite a long game. Quite the long game. Getting into carriers and stuff, right? Not sure if that is... you know, the usual timing. It seemed like he kind of skipped the robo-tech, right? In a sense, sometimes you do see... Well, Immortals, Colossi, that type of stuff. People usually tend to go into that first and then try to make the switch happen, but it almost felt like Stats just kind of... You started off with the Gateway Force, then he incorporated Disruptors and Storm, and then he just went into Carriers, right? It just was like Gateway Force with Disruptors and Storm, and suddenly now it's Carriers with Disruptors and Storm. It worked out very nicely. A lot of Zealots as well, by the way. Still a lot of Zealots. Zealots will always be a fan-bloody-tastic unit for the Protoss, of course. Alright, bottom left side, the blue Terran player fighting for the Shopify Rebellion. He is BYUN. Top right side, we have that red Protoss player fighting for the Afrika Freaks. 1 point on the board, 2 to go. Stats. Wonder if that's how he looks at it. It's like, alright, well, I got that one. Just 2 more games and we're out of here. Play innovation, 4 games, and we should be done for today. Probably doesn't really think about it that way, does he? What's up, TYTY fanboy? How you doing, buddy? Glad you could be here again. Ready to enjoy some StarCraft 2, I hope. I mean, it's been quite a wild group so far, at least. Well, it's been a weird one, honestly. Innovation versus DRG, it started off so lackluster, and then suddenly Innovation just kind of ramped up the aggression to 11, started doing all sorts of proxies and weird stuff, and yeah, in the end, worked out. Made a 3-2 score happen. No, wait, yeah, 3-2, 3-2. After it was 2-0 in favor for DRG. Now we're watching Stats versus BYUN. Stats versus BYUN, both insanely strong players, clearly. And they are proving that exact thing here as they are facing off against one another. Stats quite nicely navigating the kind of the army style and composition he was going for, finding a very smooth way to get himself into that type of army without too much of a hassle from BYUN, right? BYUN never really was in a position where it felt like, alright, well, now he should be able to push in there and really get some damage dealt or get a really good trade going. Didn't really feel like that moment existed too much for BYUN. Also came down to Stats very, very carefully and precisely getting those army splits correctly every time. If BYUN did try to come in from multiple angles, Stats was there, and he, well, if he wasn't there with enough, he would rotate units in time and get everything sorted still. Another proxy for Stats this time around will be the Twilight Council. Would imagine that's going to be accompanied by a Dark Shrine. Reaper might be able to see this if he just keeps running that way, but will not, as the Adept has given up chase. Second Adept is here to go get behind the cars now. Does have to cancel. Not quite sure where it is, but the Reaper might still have an opportunity here. Doesn't quite see it so far. Man, imagine how massive that would be. Imagine how massive that would be, but so far not really being able to see it. BYUN in the dark as there is a Twilight Council with a Robo Bay here being built. Alright. More gateways as well. So this is going to be a Robo 3 gate attack type of situation. With a blink upgrade as well. Could be the 4 gates also. We're still not seeing any Dark Shrine if it were to be DTs, but... Why are people putting Fs in chats? Because they didn't get the scout? DRG now with Team NV? Yeah, apparently. I don't know exactly when it happened, but it must have been recent, right? That pylon kill, yeah. Ooh, man. That would be fantastic. That would be game ending right there. Oh, I'm sorry. You put 4 buildings on 1 pylon here in the corner of the map, far away from your base. Alright, well. Guess that tied up the series. Reaper's gonna get taken out. Decreases the odds of BYUN finding something out here quite drastically. But he is making a fair bit of preparations in case it will be a blink attack here, right? He's got his Widowmine already set up on the side. He's making a Raven in order to take out the observers and such. He's getting a siege tank. I think he got some bunkers as well, right? Okay, he's got one bunker, just one. Would like to see one in the main base as well, but oh well. Good position for that siege tank right here. Bunker will be picked off. Not sure if he's going to commit any further though. At least not until he has another warp-in round of units. Siege tanks unsieging, at least one of them. There we go, that's the other one now coming in. The Adepts trying to shade on top of the Marines, but the siege tanks fire true. Were targeted onto those stalkers. So it's a tactic that the Protoss can try to do, of course, with those Adept shades. To cast friendly fire onto the Marines that way. This War Prism is starting to get very low as well. Having a bit of trouble with the HP pool right there. Still alive. But stats behind this, getting himself a third base, getting himself the Robo Bay as well. Is he going to jump into the main base? Oh, nice pickup there. Saving his blink, but he's just going to jump away as soon as he realizes that there is a siege tank capable of shooting him on that side as well. Widowmine and missile turret right on this left side. So War Prism not really fancying the odds of going in and staying alive. We'll just kind of contain BYUN for the time being. BYUN, of course, can just build that third base on his second base or his main base. And that's what he's doing right now. He's building that second base right here. Right above his natural. So yeah, he's probably not too upset about it, the whole situation. The Stalker's really not going to be able to contain him for very much longer anyway. Oh, gets 3 probes. Yeah, right. 3? No? Okay, there we go. Gets a couple more now. Man, that goes quick, doesn't it? Oh, 15 units. Just like that. No mining anymore for you, good sir. Gonna target down some more with the rest, well, with 2 of those Marines, as the rest of them stick in the medevac and try to get themselves to safety here. In a dead space between the 2 bases. Third base flying over. Now BYUN, of course, realizing the Stalkers were recalled. As pretty safe passageway, actually. He's gonna start moving across the map immediately. Finds the War Prism and a couple of sentries here with the Stalkers together. War Prism manages to grab most of those sentries, if not all of them. Marauder turret harassment, very peculiar as the fight is potentially about to happen here. Could have been quite useful against that Colossi. Does it have extended thermal lance? It does. So it could have been even more useful. Oh, that's a very daring blink here for Stats. I don't like this engagement at all. And he is just already going to call it GG right then and there. Stats tapping on out of there. And BYUN being able to take himself into a tied up situation. Well played indeed. Stats not quite having what he needed to get the victory in that one. BYUN. BYUN did though, taking full reign of the game and slapping Stats around a little bit. Next up, Lightshade. This will be map number 3. Afterwards, Oxide and Romanticide still on the menu as well, of course. That will be waiting along in the, whatchamacallit? The stuff that's on the side of the stage. On the back side of the stage, right? There. romanticide. We need a 2-2 situation here if we want that to occur. I mean, to be fair, every single series I've casted so far today has gone to the ace match. And these two guys, they seem very well capable of bringing each other to an ace match as well. So, you know what? It's up in the air. I don't even mind anymore at this point. Let's just have as much StarCraft 2 as we can, you know. Oh, BYUN versus Patience going all the way to game number 9. And then we had bloody DRG versus Innovation going all the way to game number 5. Stats versus BYUN now going 1-1 and looking like they are quite toe-to-toe on the matchup at this moment in time. Stats, will he be able to keep himself safe from all the aggression of BYUN in the early game? Will BYUN be able to still find his units on top of the probes? Let's wait and see, everybody. Top left side, at least. There he is, the blue Terran. Used to be teamless, no longer part of the Shopify rebellion right now. BYUN. Bottom right side, we have a red Protoss player fighting for the Afrika Freaks. Stats. Shield of Fire versus Micro Jackson. That's right. Who will be victorious in the end? I feel like this one is usually an important one as well, right? Whether you gain the momentum of putting yourself on the match points or not. And then it also comes down to whether or not you work well under that pressure. If you have pressure in those situations, at least. I don't know why. There might be more people like me, but at least I tend to find more pressure when things are going well rather than when they're going bad. Because when they're going bad, you know, it's like, alright, well, that sucks. But you know what's going bad and you know how it's happening usually and what you can do about it. But when things are going good, it's just a matter of time until something unexpectedly goes bad, right? My world philosophy. It's just a matter of time. BYUN grabbing himself that low ground base again. Will grab himself that Reaper once more also. Starting to set up for the scouting. Stats this time around. Not yet having sent a probe across the map here. So maybe we'll get the pylon, the second pylon in the main base this time. Or the natural base, right? Did we already have it? We already have it. There it is. Okay, Reaper will stay alive here, but doesn't quite get a good scout of. Once again, the shield shows that he is quite capable of holding off the early game offensive here. Or at least the units, trying to take a sneak at his underwear draw. Twilight Council and the robotics facility coming up as well as the Marauder concussive shell upgrade here is almost about to finish up. Two Marauders very likely to start marching across the map, and you know, if they hurry up, they might be able to catch that Adept as well. Looks like that is not going to be the case. They were kind of strapped in the middle as it looked like the Adept shade actually getting into the main base, so didn't want to send those two Marauders after him, probably. Reaper finds himself in the main base with a pretty darn good scout. Nice infrastructure from Stats, kind of forcing him one single direction, but unfortunately, still not managing to catch it just quite yet. The Reaper here. Whoop. Nice cancel on that shade. That will be the final trick there being performed by the Reaper. He tried his best. Couldn't quite make it though. Alright, the two Marauders here. Will they be able to pick up some of these units? The two Adepts and the two, well, the one Stalker. It looks like a rough fight. I swear, I hardly ever see these two Marauders really pay for themselves. Guess that goes one. Probes now coming into the mix as well. If he gets this Stalker, that'd be nice, but Not even that. So just kind of losing to Marauders, investing that early game money into the concussive shell and having nothing to show for it. Didn't break any knees. Third base for stats is in the making. BYUN still kind of lurking around on the 2 base. Starting up the third barracks first, of course. Exactly. Stats doesn't have the spaghetti knees. That is required to make that work. We see BYUN do this Marauder play so often, though. Like, there must be something that is giving him a benefit here, though, right? That is other than just, you know, maybe he's going to get 1 or 2 stalkers. Right? There must be, because he does it so many times, and... I don't know. It just confuses me sometimes. Because... in theory, this is just not good, right? This is not how it should work, StarCraft 2. You should not be running your forces across the map, losing them for no reason, and then just go along your merry way again. But it happens a lot with those 2 Marauders, so... I'm almost at the point where I'm like, he's expecting them to lose, right? He knows they're gonna die without much value being gained. But he's still doing it, so there must be some other value rather than just killing units being gained. Whether that is scouting or kind of forcing your opponent to stay backwards, I don't know. So you don't have to make the safety bunker, I suppose, right? You don't have to make the safety bunker then. Guess that's the plus. 2 Marauders and concussive shells, more expensive than the safety bunkers, so... Good scan ahead, sees that there will be a bit of trouble if he just runs up the pathway he was going. Finds himself on a pretty good cliffside here, though. The 2 siege tanks well positioned there. Oh, the Colossus so low. Doesn't quite manage to be taken out. And weasels his way onto the shield battery with the overcharge. Nice delay here on the 3rd base. Forces BYUN backwards, actually. To deal with this. Might come across again, though, with the reinforcements. No, it's just going to stick back here. No, it's going to go into drops. Alright. Mixing up the aggression. Fair enough. Already producing some Vikings. That's nice. Realizing his opponent is going into these Colossus, so starting to prep for it. Not that great of an economy here for BYUN, again, right? I mean, you invest into attacks that don't really accomplish anything. That's not just gonna delay your army or make your army weaker. It's also delaying your overall potential economy that you could have grown. As it does grow exponentially. Ghost Academy also coming up. Stats is grabbing himself 2 more robo facilities here. Might be trying to get himself more so into the disruptor production after the Colossi right now. It's my assumption. That's a lot of production from the robos he's going to have. Like a lot of production. It's going to be a while probably before we see him transfer into the Sky Army here, probably. Oh, no, wait, that is still a Stargate on the way. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong. Just gonna grab it all. Cheeky little bugger. It's almost maxed out. I suppose he could afford it, but it's gonna make a transition a bit more painful, perhaps, because he's trying to do a lot of the transition at the same time. But it is just one Stargate, so I shouldn't be... I'm not that bothered by this at all. Drop from BYUN on the top right side is getting a couple of probes here. Looks like there might be a big fight as well happening. As the Vikings with the siege tanks are in a pretty good position to start poking away onto those Colossi. The drop still going around. 10 probes in total getting picked off. Tying up the work account somewhat. BYUN deciding whether or not he wants to get rid of those rooks. Looks like he is still doubting it here a little bit. Not sure how many disruptors are on this force, I suppose. Siege tanks struggling to really get into the optimal range, but I mean, if stats does come into this fight, I mean, the siege tanks are going to be in a prime location. Alright, opens up the rooks here, starts pre-splitting a little bit, so he's more comfortable to macro back at home as well as at the same time as he is positioned on this location. Zealot run by, causing quite a stir here. SCVs have to be pulled off the line, and a command center in production does get picked off. No cancel on that one either. Fourth base for BYUN gonna get a little bit delayed. The Vikings are the tool you need here to start poking in. There we go. And this should eventually force the Protoss to start really coming in as well. Otherwise, the Colossi so far in the back, you might be able to start moving those Marines and Marauders into the onto the Stalkers without taking real damage. 17 workers actually got picked off there by stats, so that is bloody well fantastic. And that is bloody well fantastic also. Crazy. Disruptor shot. More Zealot running into this mineral line right now. Absolute pandemonium for BYUN. He needs to make something happen here on the other side of the map right now. He needs to do it quick. Stats already happily abandoning this base though. Seeing how much he's getting done on the other side of the map. He's like, alright, that's fine. I'll take another fourth base. That's alright. I'll be on 3 base versus 3. Well, almost 2 actually here for BYUN for a little bit. That's absolutely fine with me. It's a very smart choice for stats, as he knows he doesn't have to win the game right here, right now. He's already in a winning position as long as he doesn't take crucial damage, right? As long as he doesn't lose his entire army unnecessarily or takes a bad fight overall, loses very important tech structures. You know, he should be absolutely perfectly fine. All his expansions, that could be a problem as well. But 1 or 2 bases here, it's not going to be the end of the world. Stalkers, wonderful interception there, finding 3 medevacts fully loaded up. They don't get all of them, but they get a lot of it, and that is going to be enough to dent the forces of BYUN, who is struggling to replenish at this moment in time. A couple of ghosts as well, entering from the wrong side. Find himself on the wrong end of a couple of Stalkers. And Colossi. Alright, here we are moving forwards again. A lot of SCVs falling as they are trying to just fist fight the Protoss army here as well. BYUN finds himself on a pretty reasonable position also on the other side of the map. But of course, still has a lot of work to do to put stats in as a uncomfortable position as he is finding himself in right now. The siege tanks in the big fight. 2 flanking Protoss armies here, casting a utter surround. BYUN trying to escape with the medevacts here, reassembling forces together with whatever was in the main base, but it is not enough. GG is called. Stats finds himself with another victory right there. 2-1 going up into his favor. Stats, yeah, those Zealot run-bys, really something else. Truly shutting down BYUN there as well. BYUN just up against the wall. He's like, alright, well, I'm on your side of the map, and I'm putting pressure onto your expansion, but everything in my own base is getting demolished. It's having quite a struggle pushing anywhere, or, well, mining, really, and producing units then, of course, as well at the same time. Kind of goes hand in hand, doesn't it? Doesn't it? It does, truly. Next map coming up, map number 4, will be Oxide. Oxide, map number 4 here, where Hopefully we have BYUN tying it up again and we get ourselves in another ace match. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice, guys? Maybe BYUN gonna do the proxy racks now. Maybe BYUN gonna do proxy Reaper racks against the Protoss. Who knows? We've seen somebody try it before. Usually it doesn't quite work out, but that would be quite something. That would be quite something. For stats to go down in that way, that would be quite ridiculous. I would love that to happen, but unfortunately, probably isn't going to happen, right? Statistically speaking, percentage-wise, the likelihood, very, very slim. Very, very slim. Even that feels like an understatement. BYUN versus stats. What are we going to get here? What are we going to get? Most likely, we'll get Stargate or Blink on this map. You can do both. I think Blink is probably a pretty good bat, as you do have that open area into the main base. It's a pretty good place for the Blink Stalkers. So yeah, I think Blink Stalkers for stats. BYUN, what will BYUN do? BYUN, Widowmine drop? I would assume Widowmine drop. That's kind of his go-to thing right now, so that's my guess. Also, if I have to guess as well on who's gonna win this one, I'm kind of forcing myself into it. I know, but if somebody else were to force me, I think I might say that, you know what, stats is looking pretty good here. He may be able to squeeze out another victory. Top right side, the blue Terran player fighting for the Shopify Rebellion. BYUN. Bottom left side, we have ourselves a red Protoss player fighting for the Afrika Freaks. Stats. Right, and in these first moments of downtime in the game, guys, if you are enjoying StarCraft 2, what we do here, the ITaX content, not just me, of course, we have a lot of very dedicated, very talented, incredibly loyal and hardworking people behind the scenes, casters, administrators, team managers, chat managers, the whole shebang, web managers, everything, right? Graphic design. A whole boatload of people just making sure that ITaX is a place for StarCraft 2, and alright, StarCraft 2 as a place for, you know, with ITaX. Anyway, if you appreciate what we're doing as well, you want StarCraft 2 to, you know, keep doing this type of stuff on these platforms, and you know what? All we ask, simply making a little Trovo account. Giving a small follow and blammo. There you go. There you go. That's all we ask. Second base here for BYUN, kind of on the probage attack, but with the Reaper coming up shortly, Stats knows he has to get the heck out of there. Or just lose the probe entirely, right? It's no way you will escape that Reaper if the Reaper knows where you're going. Reaper kind of knows where he's going, but might not be able to catch him here. Might still come into play, but we should have an Adept coming out soon as well, so we'll be able to start protecting them. Very well timed. Stargate! Ooh, Stats is going to go for the Stargate. Interesting. So no Blink Stalkers there, unfortunately. I was wrong on that one. Widowmine? Oh, Hellions! Alright, okay, so I was wrong on this as well. I'm off my game, guys, apparently. The little Reaper boy there. Dead on the ground. Shot in the face with a psionic hand blast. Taunting the other Terran units now by shading in front of them and then just running off again into the distance. Its stats go straight into the Phoenix here as well. Yes, he did. Alright, interesting. BYUN, I mean, he doesn't have a... What did he manage to scout, actually? Let's take a glance. Nothing. Alright. It's a good thing he knows where stat spawns. Otherwise, he would have not even known that. Robo facility coming up as well. Wonder if we're going to get the Colossi this time around. Usually is what you go for after the Phoenix here. I highly anticipate that being the move here from stats this time around. A lot less heavy into the gateway, more heavy into the Phoenix. Otherwise, Marines will just overwhelm your gateway forces. No third base yet for BYUN. Looking to start pushing out in the not too far distant future. Waiting to see a reactor kind of go up on the starport and then 2 medevacs coming in. Might try to push around 3 siege tanks there, I don't know. Always annoying getting the boys off the gas, you know. You have to reset them on the right place. There's the reactor on the starport. Oh, a siege tank. That would be a great prize here for stats to pick off. It looks like he will be able to. Very clean. Not losing a single Phoenix and getting the Viking afterwards as well. Will he be able to get more? Doesn't look unlikely. Makes the pullback with the Phoenix as there is a bit of harassment in his main base right now. Auto turrets. Managed to pick off 2 probes and force a bit of lost mining, but immediately quite heavily punished for that transgression, of course. Now we don't have the Raven with this push either. We lack a siege tank. We lack a Viking. We lack a Raven. We're missing a lot for this Terran army here. To be fair, it's mostly facing off against Phoenix for the time, right? For this moment. But there is extended thermal lance about to finish up with a second Colossus as well. Couple of sentries on the front. We'll be able to get those force fields in there. Most likely as well. BYUN realizing that his attack most likely already a bit stumped and goes for drop harassment instead. Multi-pronged harassment here, it looks like. Phoenixes keeping tabs on the army advancements. And, I mean, they don't quite see that many units here anymore. No medevacs either. The medevacs should be out on the field here. It's going through his mind overall too. Widowmines find a bit of sneaky poke damage onto those Phoenix. And a couple of them do go down because of it. The 2 medevacs have arrived in the main base here for stats. And stats, his Phoenixes are very far out. No recall available either. So this might be a moment where we do see quite a few probes finally being taken out here by the opposition. BYUN grabs himself 8 and tries to get the heck out of there before the Phoenix show up. Needs to start dropping. Realizes that he does need to. And, you know what, those pickups, they are pretty darn gnarly. 3 Marines still in the medevac. Didn't get the drop. But it's too little, too late now. Not going to help out anymore. BYUN taking an absolute beating right now. Ghost Academy's coming up, so trying to get himself a bit further into the game developed technologically. It's working out actually pretty darn good here. Not gonna lie, he does have a 3rd base as well. It's just really the army supply that is very worrisome. If Stats does make a good play here, he doesn't have charge yet. That's the big deal. All these zealots, none of them with charge. That makes the buyout from BYUN so much more deadly. Alright, let's see if it will be enough here. Stats, I really don't think you should try to make this work without your charge. It's just going to sit here, impose on BYUN's third base and not allow any mining for as long as possible. Phoenix keeping tabs on the siege tank movements. I mean, if you keep your zealot still, you're not showing that you don't have charge. That might be a pretty good idea here, actually. A bit of a repair coming up as far as the Phoenix starts picking off more of the SCVs. Oh boy, BYUN taking real economic damage right now, as well as more of his army losses. More valuable units being sniped away by those Phoenixes. Another tank, 2 Ghost, and more SCVs as well, of course. Waiting for another siege tank to show up here with those Phoenixes. That is just absolutely just evil, just pure evil. Grabs himself a couple of those Marauders. He's like, alright, yeah, as long as you let me sit here, I'll pick up anything that tries to make it through the front door. Big drop from BYUN. There is a recall available. Is that what we're going to see here? No, first a advancement of the army. Trying to get rid of the siege tanks and everything here. It looks like this is where we will see the recall take place. The recall needs to happen quickly, though. May need to recall in a different place right now. Is losing a lot of probes at this moment in time. Not quite looking for the recall, actually. Just stood still for a moment. Now starting to move into the Terran's main base. Stats does have the higher amount of bases, and he has the better army here. So I suppose if it does come down to... one base left for Stats and no bases here left for BYUN. Stats will be able to get this one. He's in a really good position to win the game overall. Let's see if he will be able to do it. The bio still trying to hold its own. Not being enough, unfortunately. The rest of the bio on the other side of the map still bringing a lot of death and destruction. A hidden nexus on the top left side here by Stats. Feeling pretty darn confident in his victory right now. All the buildings up in the sky. They won't do no good. Won't even be able to force a tie in this situation, of course, because we do still have... what is that? 7 Phoenix right now shooting away with whatever is trying to escape. BYUN moves in the back across the field, realizing that there are still more nexuses being hidden somewhere. And he's going to have to start protecting his own buildings because this is starting to get rather nasty. More probes show up. We do still have enough money for multiple nexuses. About 4 of them, if I'm mistaken. Colossus would get a really good arc here. BYUN needs to be extremely careful. I think he wants to just try to fight the Zealots if he wants to, but yeah, I mean, that is a very tough fight. GG is called. BYUN taps one out of there. Stats takes a 3-1 victory